Welcome back to my ongoing series about retroactive jealousy and cognitive distortions. In today's video, I'm going to talk about something called mental filtering. My name is Zachary Stockill, and since 2013, I've been helping men and women from all over the world overcome jealousy and possessiveness in their relationships and overcome retroactive jealousy. If you'd like more information about my work or you'd like to work with me one-on-one, please visit my website at retroactivejealousy.com. Okay, if it's your first time around these parts, just very briefly, I'll mention that the term retroactive jealousy refers to unwanted intrusive thoughts, often obsessive curiosity, and what I call mental movies about your partner's past relationships. And the term cognitive distortions basically refers to counterproductive, unhelpful, inaccurate thought patterns that we fall victim to that hold us back from being happier, that hold us back in our relationships, that hold us back in our lives, and that also contribute to things like anxiety disorders, depression, and what we call retroactive jealousy. So what is a mental filter? Mental filtering is similar to generalization, which we discussed in the last video. But the difference with mental filters is rather than taking one event and generalizing inappropriately, with a mental filter, you take one small event and you focus on that obsessively and you completely disregard a lot of other ideas, other facts, other data. You're simply focusing on one thing, you're not really considering the whole picture. For example, just to use a classic relationship example, let's say you have a fight with your partner and it really troubles you, it really bothers you. You start making sense out of that fight and you start making meaning out of that fight that isn't necessarily there. You start saying things like, oh, we always fight and why did we have this fight? And this fight, was really destroying my perception of you. And what does this fight mean? And you start blowing it up into this big thing, completely overlooking all of the months or maybe even years, which were mostly conflict-free in your relationship. You're only focusing on the tiny, tiny little portion of the overall story. Another important component of mental filters that is important to highlight is with a mental filter, in many ways you're looking at a situation and you're filtering out all of the positive. You're not even seeing the positive because you're so dead focused on the single negative element. So needless to say, if your self-belief, if your self-perception is colored by a mental filter, you're probably only considering bad things about yourself. You're probably only focused on the negative in yourself or the challenges that you are struggling with. You're probably missing out on a lot of the good stuff in your life, a lot of the good things in you, in your character, and you can see how falling victim to a mental filter completely holds back your happiness. Because again, you're not seeing the whole picture, you're not seeing the forest for the trees. To use a classic retroactive jealousy example when it comes to the mental filter, many retroactive jealousy sufferers come to me for coaching, for example, and they're dead focused on a single period or sometimes even a single event or even a single person in their partner's past. Now, these people who come to me, this is less so about the intrusive thoughts and about the mental movies, although that can certainly be part of the story. A lot of people have serious questions about their partner's values, and they're only focused on one tiny little period or even a person in their partner's past. So they're looking at their partner's past, they're considering their partner's past through this very, very narrow sort of passageway without realizing that their partner's past goes back maybe 10, 20, or even 30 years. So if you are going to go down the road of evaluating who your partner is as a person, of judging them, or of considering, their past, you really need to look at the entire picture, not just one event, not just two events, not even just one tiny little period. Look at their entire past if you truly want to go down this road of judging them and trying to assess their character. Another example as it relates to retroactive jealousy. Some people would look at their partner's past and they see a bunch of what they consider red flags. They see, some mistake their girlfriend made one night going home with some idiot or dating some idiot for an extended period of time. Or maybe their girlfriend has had a little more sex in their past than he feels comfortable with. Just classic examples. You're only looking for red flags in your partner's past. You're not necessarily picking up on all the green flags. Green flags, as I've covered in other videos, are the opposite of red flags. So maybe there are events or periods or choices that your partner's made in her past or his past that actually indicate that they're capable of making good decisions. They're balanced, they're self-aware, they're mature. You get the idea. If you go looking for something hard enough, you will find it. So if you go only looking for red flags, all you're going to find is red flags. But if you go looking for green flags, you'll find those too. The whole point is to consider the whole picture rather than focusing on a tiny little area or subject. If you are finding this series on cognitive distortions and retroactive jealousy helpful, please take a minute to let me know by leaving a comment beneath this video. You can also be sure to hit the like button to make sure that I know that you appreciate this kind of free content. While you're at it, please be sure you are subscribed to my channel to be notified of new videos moving forward. We're going to continue this series over the next couple weeks. Thanks again for watching, and I'll talk to you soon.